money comes and goes, but the knowledge stays with you. So if you have that knowledge, you're gonna continue to grow. So you can you have an idea, you go explore it, it failed. Okay, cool. I learned my lesson. I have an idea. This is why I tell all the young people this, man. If you have no kids and you are just by yourself, even if it's just you and your girlfriend or wife, you need to you need to fail thousands of times before you get to the age of 30 or 35.
100%.
Because you have no responsibilities yet.
Yeah.
Like, that's the time to try.
Just go
as
after
much
it.
as you can.
Yeah. I'm Charles Newton, and with me today is a very special guest, Efrin Baraga. He has a rags to riches story that will keep you on the edge of your seat. This episode is packed with a ton of actionable information to implement in our lives. So Efrin started in the streets of Los Angeles after receiving a felony for dealing drugs and happened to file for bankruptcy shortly after. He made the conscious decision to channel his energy into productive and positive ventures. He went to trade school to become a welder and eventually landed a job at SpaceX, where he worked his way up and eventually was in charge of 394 people. And those people reported directly to him. He had the privilege to work alongside Elon Musk on a project that will have a profound impact on humanity as we know it. And since then, he's left SpaceX to help build a startup company that specializes in providing much-needed low-income housing. Along his wild journey, he has achieved financial independence by investing in real estate, and he's been successful in multiple verticals, including the aerospace industry, trading stocks, creating syndications, and investing in real estate. Man, what an exciting journey you've had so far, brother.
Yeah.
So, bro, you got to tell me more about this whole SpaceX experience.
So with SpaceX, like you said, I was a welder fabricator, went in there, started working, building the actual octaweb, which is the main structure for the engines for F9. From there, I just started working my way up. And SpaceX, the reason I joined was more, what value can I gain from that job, right? I had a cool job in aerospace before SpaceX, working in Downey in a mom and pop's job. And it was fun, like different parts coming through the store, welding, shooting them out. But with SpaceX, I saw the opportunity to grow, not only in my trade, but in leadership. And this was in 2010, and me thinking ahead of, okay, how do I gain more skills? Because you always hear this concept of the rich don't work for money, right? And that's true. Once you have money, you put your money to work and you benefit you get the benefits of that, right? Instead of you trading your time for money. Your money creates you the time, which is funny because when you're young, you're trading time for money. So it just reversed. It's the cycle of life. But while in SpaceX, just worked my way up. I did the projects that needed to be done. I didn't, at first, when you have that mentality that, hey, I need to chase the money. Whoever gives me the most pay per hour, I'll go work for him. Well, in SpaceX, I had the opportunity to learn all that stuff, the value part of it. So leadership. So I worked my way up. And at that point, I started as a welder, went to lead. From a lead, I got the opportunity to try out for Starship, which is in Texas. And that's to be a supervisor.
Gotcha.
I didn't know anything about the process. I knew fabrication and welding, but I didn't know anything about the process as far as like how to build a massive rocket from the ground up or tanks. In this scenario, you're taking tanks and building them into rockets.
Okay.
So I went over, everybody kept telling me, why are you going to do this when you know you're going to have to work alongside Elon because he's starting that out there? To me, sure, if you're afraid of someone in that power, then fear holds people back.
For sure.
To me, fear of the unknown is like, well, let me go test it out.
You get excited by it.
Yeah. Am I going to die from this project? No, I mean.
Probably not.
Will my feelings get hurt if I get fired? Probably, but I'll survive, right? Like if I do a good job, I'm going to learn the lessons. And one cool part about SpaceX is that failure, you're going to continue to fail. So that culture of you fell and you dust yourself up, I already had that embedded with me. So finding a company that had that same concept where rockets fell, all right, whatever, let's do it again.
Yeah.
Fell, all right, do it again. So the same concept is, okay, if I go over there and fail, well, all right, well, the worst scenario is I get fired. I'm going to learn why I got fired. So when I went over there, did the interview, management didn't want me to leave. They kept offering me different things to stay in Hawthorne. So I told them, hey, I want to spread my wings and actually learn this. Because in parallel, I'm doing real estate. And if I really want to work and be a property manager and create a company that's property management, I'm going to deal with more personalities, right?
100%.
So I saw that opportunity as far as like, if I go over there, I'm going to learn several more different personalities. Because at this point, I already knew how SpaceX works. It's like they dump as much as they can on you as an individual and see what you could perform in, right? Which it's great and bad at the same time. But
yeah, they keep trying to get as much as humanly possible out of you. Yeah.
So during that time, I got the job, and I didn't know I was going to be in charge of, at the end, 394 direct reports. But the whole concept of being there and learning different personalities was what I wanted to learn. It's not the fear of getting fired or the fear of not knowing what the hell I was going to do. It's just how do I shorten that learning curve?
Gotcha.
And by having that many personalities to talk to, you have to learn that not one approach is going to work with 100 individuals. You're going to constantly have to change that.
So it's those interpersonal skills that you're honing in.
Yeah, so I was able to really learn all that stuff. It wasn't easy. Nothing that you do there is easy, but you do get pushed, and you get pushed in the right direction.
Yeah.
If you have good leadership. If you don't have good leadership, then you're not going to grow.
100%. I mean, there's so much that you can unpack with your whole story where you're embracing that discomfort and that unknown, like you're just going for it. And so many of us, and I'm guilty of it too, we let fear hold us back. But your mindset shift, that mindset of like, you know what, I might fail, but I'm still going to move forward. That's so powerful. And like, I think so many of us can benefit from that mentality of just going, failure is a possibility, but I'm going to go for it anyways. And I'm going to see where it gets me. And, in your case, you were successful, and, it's just a testament to just facing those fears and pushing forward.
Yeah.
So
you have to have that strong mindset, and people are going to put little seeds in your brain that are just worthless, right?
Yeah.
When I was going for that job, I had several individuals saying, oh, well, your fear of job security. If you're an average person, you are thinking about that. Like, if I take this leap and I'm not ready, I get fired.
Yeah.
Is it easier or harder for me to get another job? The way I see it is, if you push yourself and you learn the lessons, and if you do, let's say, get fired, which I'll get to that as well, you learn why and what the hell happened, because everybody's responsible. You got to take accountability, right?
Yep.
But the problem is not that you failed. The problem is that you don't learn from those failures.
100%. So along that whole journey, did you ever have self-doubt yourself?
Oh, yeah, several times. And like, it's easy like to believe that, yeah, you're invisible, you're going to do everything and it's going to come out perfect.
Yeah.
No. So like, what am I doing here, right? Like that opportunity was there. I was like, this is mine for the taking.
Yeah.
But I didn't know how I was going to do this stuff. I didn't know if I was going to be successful or not. To me, there's constant blockers that you got to stop, take a breather, and say, all right, I need to live on the now. I don't need to live in the past or in the present.
Yep.
If you're thinking too much of the present, you're just stressing yourself out.
Yeah.
Right? But if you live in the now, today, you start taking action to get to that future that you need to take. So, yeah, it's not... To me, it was like, fear is constantly going to be there, but fear is the thing that pushes me.
That's awesome, man. So, I mean, why did you start in the blue collar industry in the first place? Like, but beyond that, what fueled you to pursue bigger ventures?
Yeah, so to me, I started, like you said, I'm an ex-con, right?
Yeah.
So that was prior to having kids. So when I found out I was going to be a father, that's when I was in this basically piece of shit spot where a job where I had to clean the blood from dead animals from the walls.
I didn't know you had that job.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
A lot of people didn't know that I had that job, but it was in the evenings as well. So it was like a graveyard shift, right? And
Gotcha.
was through your classic agency. So major paperwork, they find you a new job, right? Once you're an ex-felon, it's hard to get employment.
Yeah.
So I was doing this. I'm just like pressure washing the blood everywhere. I see blood everywhere, like heads cut off. And I'm just thinking about my future. Is this really what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life? Is this something... Because I constantly saw my parents working. I see my family, my aunts, uncles constantly working, right? And working, we're still broke. Like, how the hell does that happen, right? You're seeing your parents constantly working. And I'm in this scenario where I'm just like seeing the blood coming out. It's cold as hell. And I'm just... It's
like a horror story.
I'm just thinking about my life. And at this point, I'm like 24, 25. Like, I don't really thinking back in my head, I just ruined my life. And I just thought about it. The more I thought about it, I said, no, you know what? I got to do something with my life. So I just kind of like dropped the equipment, went over to the foreman that was in charge, and I said, hey, do you mind if I switch shifts? Is there a possibility I could switch shifts? I really want to go to school and actually do something with my life. And that guy straight out said, you either work or you don't work. And didn't even say, hey, yeah, we could work some schedules out or anything. Maybe you should do the weekends or something like that. So when he said that, I said, all right, cool. Then I quit. He said, no, you can't quit. I'm like, I quit.
I'm up.
I freaking walked out. And when I got home, so at that point, my girlfriend was like, you did what? And I was like, don't worry about it, man. Like, we'll take care of this. I know you're pregnant. It's kind of hard, right? You're a mom and...
Oh, 100%. You're like, what the hell? There's no more money.
Right? So at that point, I signed up for school. I did it right away. I was able to make the cut so I could start the semester. That's where I met you, right? You were ahead in the welding trade at Cerritos College. So I started my school there. And then when my son was born, he really changed my life around, because I still remember receiving him in the hospital, right? And just giving him back to my girlfriend. And then literally the next day, went back to school. And the professor, Mark Tate, he actually called me out in front of the class. He's like, this guy just had a baby and he's here the next day. And I was like, hey, I got to do what I got to do to, keep moving forward. But I took that role because I heard that not a lot of places care whether you're a felon or not, right? In the trade industry. Completely wrong. If you really want a good paying job, like that does matter. So at that point, when I found out the hard way, and it was through our welding instructor, Dave Perkins, right? So he saw me welding TIG, and he's like, you know what? Dude, do you want to work at Honeywell? Like, we'll do aerospace parts. He's like, I'm gonna bring you some parts. He brought me some parts, which is Inconel. And at that time, I had no idea what the hell the metals were.
Didn't matter.
So he's like, here's the rod. Just try welding it. And I was like, all right. So I did a pass. He's like, man, all right, dude, I'm going to get you an application so you could apply. And at that time, I was like, all right, what did they pay? He's like, $25 an hour. And this is back in the day, right? So I was like, $25 an hour? Oh, cool. This is...
that's not bad.
Not bad. So, and he comes back. I do the application, fill everything out. And it says, do you have any felonies? If so, check here, right? So I check yes, and I put the information, submit it. He comes back. He's like, hey, man, I guess they're not able to do it, right? And I went through all the paperwork, everything. And I could see in his eyes he felt kind of bad. So the next day, like the following day after that conversation that I couldn't get it, he comes to me and says, hey, I find you an aerospace company that is willing to take you for your skills rather than your background.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so that got started there. But that's what led me to changing my mindset. It's just my son being born, and then I went to trade school because, that was an opportunity. So I thought about, didn't care about the felony part.
Yeah, man. I mean, having kids is like, for me, especially, is such a huge mindset shift.
Yeah.
And you're just like so responsible for them. You don't want to let them down. So that's cool that your kids were like your motivation to like really kick it into gear and step it up.
Yeah, like I said, man, it's like no way in hell I was just gonna stay in that freezer spot, like cleaning blood off the damn.
Freddy Cougar
This,
scene.
yeah, I mean, and I give props to anybody that's doing that, but also accountability, right?
Yeah.
If you're in that scenario and you're in poverty and you're working your ass off as much as you can, you really start thinking about different options. And you're in poverty because you choose to be there.
So you touched briefly about mindset,
Yeah.
but how did you shift from that whole employee mindset to, building wealth mindset and just having money work for you instead of you working for money?
So reading books, right? So I will see, okay, what is it that makes someone wealthy? What is it that makes someone rich? Why is it that if I'm making, let's call it at that time, $30 an hour, what's making someone make $200 an hour? Or what's making someone make $900 an hour? Like, where's that gap?
Yeah.
So asking those questions is what got me into reading books. So
Gotcha.
I started reading about the real estate market, and as well as the stock market. And it was clear as day after you read several books that equity is your best friend. You want to be on the side of equity, not on the side of trading time for money.
100%.
So
What are your top 3 books?
I gotta say, I like Robert Kiyosaki's
Rich Dad Poor Dad?
yeah, Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Okay.
So that's the one, what the rich don't teach, or what the rich teach their kids that the poor do not. So that book talks about debt and how to utilize debt and what debt is, right? Which it gives you a different perspective of
what
debt.
you're typically taught, right? Conventionally, get rid of all debt.
Everyone tells you like you shouldn't have debt and stop thinking about money because money is sinful or it's not about money. Everything's not about money, and you're wrong. Everything is about money. There's transactions being made every day.
Every single day.
So,
isn't that crazy though? It's like you go to school for 12 years and then you go to college afterwards, and you're not taught anything about money.
No,
you're just released into the world, and you haven't taught, like, you're not taught about how to build wealth, how to understand finances.
And if you are, for the viewers, whoever's in debt right now, I used to be in debt, and I was in debt twice. Debt one was you graduate, you go out to the real world, you get credit cards, and you swipe, get the fancy stuff, right? And you don't even think about it till the bill hits.
Buy now, pay later.
Yeah. So then, that didn't even exist back then, right? So it was just, you have to have credit or not.
Yeah.
So for me, once I got in debt and paid that off, the next debt cycle, that was a bad debt cycle for me, was when I made my first $100,000, right?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, cool, $100,000. Like, damn.
I'm rich.
Yeah, I'm rich. Like who's Dave Chappelle? I'm rich, bitch. But so then I'm like, all right, cool, I'm making $100,000. And I spend it all, and I'm in debt now, like 100 and something. It's like negative. So I was like, all right, cool. So if you're at the bottom, you're broke. You're making money, you still get broke.
You're still broke. You got things, but you're broke.
What the hell is going on, right? So it's not the money that you're making, it's how much you actually start keeping is what makes you rich or wealthy.
Oh.
You could be making $1 million and you could be spending $2 million. That means you're broke.
Super broke.
Your ex and you're broke. You're making high value money, right? But you're still broke. So it's whatever you keep. And I was like, okay, cool. So it's the amount of money that you're keeping, because it's easy. And I remember this quote, but I can't remember for the life of me who said it. But it's, you should become a millionaire not for the $1 million. It's for what becomes of you.
The self-development. Yeah.
So which is great. Like
100%.
Because if you go to the path of I want to be a millionaire, the value you're gaining to achieve that $1 million, you're gonna be with you forever.
100%. So even if you went broke again,
still get it again.
Get it back.
I had a conversation with my wife, and we're just messing around. She's like, "What if I leave and I take half?" I'm like, "Take it. I don't care. It's just money. I'm gonna make it back again anyways." She's like, "What?" So yeah,
that's not the answer she wants.
Yeah, but we're just messing around, and I was like, "Can you like the fact that you're empowered to say all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
You get money comes and goes, but the knowledge stays with you. So if you have that knowledge, you're gonna continue to grow. So you can hit." You have an idea, you go explore it, it fell, okay, cool, I learned my lesson. I have an idea, this is why I tell all the young people this, man. If you have no kids and you are just by yourself, even if it's just you and your girlfriend or wife, you need to you need to fail thousands of times before you get to the age of 30 or 35.
100%.
Because you have no responsibilities yet, man. Like, that's the time to try.
Just go
as
after
much
it.
as you can.
Yeah. For those of you that are watching right now, there's this game called Cash Flow by Robert Kiyosaki. And basically, it's a game where you work your way out of the rat race. It's kind of like Monopoly on steroids. And something that you have done personally is you've gamified the financial independence journey with a financial statement calculator that you created. Right? Can you tell us a little bit more about what that is and how it works?
Yeah. So like you said, the cash flow, right? And that's by Robert Kiyosaki. And it gives you a concept of learning how to buy property, how to get out the rat race, right? Like you're buying property, you're selling stuff, you're buying gold, you're trading stocks. It's a good educational board. What I saw is that, and I'll answer your question right now, but I'm going to revert back to the game. Where as I was playing, and I'm playing with family members, right? And I'm constantly winning. I'm winning more than I am losing. And finally, I told my wife, I was like, "Yeah, there's a reason why I always win." And she's like, "Why?" I was like, "Because it's a game. You're playing a game, but people take it seriously like a real life scenario where, oh, I only have
do this
$500 in my bank, and there's an investment opportunity. I'm gonna go zero and." I might just go bankrupt, right? Man, the game's the time to go bankrupt. In the game, go bankrupt, man. Do whatever you need to do to get out the rat race, right? So, as far as doing that, to me, I just took what I learned from that board game, and I saw it as, you know what? I should really just make my own financial statement and track my own progress, and then use it as if I'm playing the game. So I ended up doing my financial statement, and you could really see the different versions as I continue to grow. I first started and around 2017, I was doing it around on a yearly basis, right?
Gotcha.
So within the yearly basis, and by 2018, I would check it and see, okay, what am I doing? Am I doing something right? Am I doing something wrong?
Yeah.
2019, same yearly basis. 2020, that's when I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm already moving several thousands of dollars here. Let me track it in a quarterly basis. And then I just started doing it in every quarter from there on.
Now, did you notice when you went to the quarterly basis, did it actually increase the velocity? Like, were you getting more and more traction?
Yep. Because the more you understand where your money is at, and where's your income and versus your output, you'll be able to make more decisions and really strategize your goals. So if you have goals, like actual actionable goals, right? Now, one goal, I want to be fit.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I don't have a timeline. I just want to be fit, you know?
I don't have a schedule. Right? I'm going to the gym. I just want to be fit.
Same way finances, right? All right, I want to make $1 million. And that's it.
I'm going to go watch Netflix and eat potato chips.
Yeah. And that's the other concept that I talk to people, because when I used to have meetings, even at SpaceX, with my technicians, although I didn't get a lot of value from them as far as like learning new stuff, right? They were gaining a lot of knowledge from me. And we would have these meetings where we're talking about our job roles and what we got to tackle, right? But it also gave them the opportunity to ask me other questions that, whether there was outside of work or inside of work. And during that time, it's like people were like, hey, man, how do you do what you do outside of work when you're constantly here? It's like, well, you have to have a schedule, right? Like, and it's a lot of, the other thing is a lot of, you got to be selfish with your time.
Yeah.
And and I'll get back to this, but let me finish this here. But so they're asking me, how do I do this? I'm like, you have to have a schedule. And they're like, well, I can't even do this. And then I kind of snap because when people tell me they can't do something,
you get pissed.
I'm like, dude, you could find a way. I bet you that after you leave here, you go home and you're watching Netflix. Or you're watching TV.
Yeah. Or you're flipping on your phone.
Yeah. And it calculated everything that you're doing, man. There's several hours that you could have done something else.
Yeah.
So it's not that you don't have time. It's just that you haven't actually taken the action to do something. And that's the main thing that you got to make sure is that you're actually doing something, not just mindlessly scrolling. Right?
So when are you making your schedule? Are you the night before? Are you doing it? Are you doing it a weekly basis?
I have it on my phone as pings. So have you set alarms like anchors? So for everybody out there too, I still have a W-2 job, right? And to me, there's a block. Say it's W-2 job. This is what I'm doing for 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours, whatever it is. Right now I'm doing 12 hours. So it's blocked. And then there's another alarm that says, okay, you're going to work on this. And it like shines or pings.
And when that alarm goes off, are you just like, boom, you're fully immersed in it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm not going to lie to the public. In the past, I think 2 months, I haven't stuck to those. So I kind of like just shut them off because I need like it was more of all right, let me reframe what I want to do because like I wanted to open a boxing gym. I wanted to do some other stuff as well. So I need to redefine what path I want to take. So I said, give yourself a break. And then sometimes you got to do that. And taking a break is not bad.
No, it lets you regroup.
Yep.
I'm at that point right now where I need to regroup.
Yep. Yeah. So but having when you're following stuff and having it on your phone and the time it brings, like go set yourself to what you said you were going to do, right? So go ahead and do it. And then a lot of people tell me, well, I have kids, I have that, there's Wi-Fi home. Well, if your wife's mad, is you never communicated. You never said that this is what you wanted to pursue. Maybe she didn't sign up, right? But she doesn't want an entrepreneur. She wants someone that just have a 9-to-5 job and come back home. But for me, I communicated with my wife. I told her this is what I want to do. I have massive, large ambition goals, right, to achieve. And if I die today, I know that I'm setting them up. And if I die today, and there's a question that she asked me, and you didn't use any of it, how would you feel? I'm like, well, I'm dead. I'm not going to feel anything. But if I die, I know that, hey, I tried everything in my power to achieve the goals that I wanted to achieve. And to me, and I'll give you my vision, is how do I make sure that my great-great-great-grandkids are set? I'm not even thinking about my own kids. Kids, like, they have me, I could guide them, all that, right? Yep. But, like, great-great-great-grands, it's like, how do I set that up?
Yeah.
And one picture that I constantly see, and it's kind of hard because, like, my uncle passed away. And the picture I have was all of us just sitting down.
Yeah.
I want to have that back with our family members still sitting there and all of us there. So the fact that he's gone is more of an urgency that I got to do this shit faster. That's what drives me.
How old was he when he passed?
In his late 50s.
So he's an old.
Nah.
He wasn't old. Yeah.
Nope.
I think, that urgency that you have, I think that's a really big takeaway because the thing is, we think we have so much time throughout our lives to accomplish our goals. And if you really think about it, we don't have that much time on this earth. And another thing we don't know is whether, tomorrow's promised or not, because it might not be. So if you're not giving it your all in life, if you're not going after your dreams, like, I don't know what to tell you guys. Like, you gotta go for it. Like, that's what you have to do.
You do have to go for it. And to me, it's funny because for me, if I die, it's whatever, I fucking died. But I'm setting my family up. Yeah. But like those around me that are passing away, to me, it's just like, oh fuck, I gotta go faster.
And the crazy thing is, the older you get, the faster time goes by.
Yeah.
You're just like, well, where did that year go? And then the next year goes by faster. The next year goes by faster. So it's like, start getting clear on your goals and your ambitions and create schedules like Efrin here is saying, so that you can accomplish what you want out of this life, because it's short. Before you know it, you're going to be dead. So Get after it.
Like set your family up. If you're, and again, you gotta have that something. The why. The why.
You obviously have a deep why.
Yeah, that's the thing that me and my wife talk about most of the time is that I'm thinking about like further down the bloodline and not the us, right?
Yeah.
The us are gonna suffer and sacrifice and make sure that this happens. And we're also the fact that I still have a W-2 job and she has a W-2 job is because we're still young. Like, can we go and move to Texas and say call it a day and we're done? Yeah, we could do that. But to us, it's at least the mentality that we're trying to achieve is making sure that by the time we're ready to retire, call it 60. How people say 60 is a long age for retirement, right? I think 60 is still young, man. The way we're living today.
100%.
So to me, it's think about it like your parents, right? My parents retired broke.
Yep, same here.
Right. So if when we're ready to retire, we're not going to be broke. We have several thousands of dollars coming in, hundreds of thousands of dollars coming in a year. So what am I going to live a bad life or am I going to live a good life?
You can live a good life, obviously, and you're not hoping for a pension. I mean, you're taking in matters into your own hands because we don't know if the pension's going to be there. And people put money in the 401k, but you don't know what the market's going to be like.
Yeah, and
30, 40 years from now.
To me, that's the reason I invest in real estate is because of the cash flow. The cash flow is what's that's my 401k.
The cash flow, the tax efficiency.
And if you have a W-2 job and you have cash flow, first of all, like if you have cash flow, you can utilize depreciation. If you don't have cash flow, depreciation is shit. Like you can't even calculate that in your numbers. But if you have a W-2 job and then you have depreciation, even let's say if it doesn't cash flow, you're getting tax incentives to offset your W-2 job.
100%.
So when people say, do you pay taxes? And they say no, they get pissed.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not the richest person. I don't consider myself rich.
Yeah.
I want to be wealthy. I don't want to be rich. Rich is just a numbers game. Wealthy is you lose your job or you quit or whatever the hell happens, you have money coming in.
100%.
I'd rather be wealthy. I don't need to be rich. And then that's just one lump sum of money that never comes in no more.
Yep.
It's like wealthy is money just comes in.
Gotcha.
But yeah, people just need to get educated on how they can get more money in.
Okay, so speaking of education, tell me what is a financial statement and how to use it in your life?
So financial statement, there's different types of statements out there and the way you read it, like companies have financial statements, right? They're hard to read based on how they're structuring it. A personal financial statement is that calculator that I use, and the idea came from the cash flow, the cash flow game. So to me, that it's you have your income, you have your cash flow,
gotcha.
Then you have your expenses,
okay.
You have your liabilities, and you have your assets.
Gotcha. It's
a way to just track all that data. One great thing that I learned from SpaceX and I had the opportunity to do is work with engineers.
Yep.
Their mindset is completely different than your average welder, fabricator, nurse set job, right?
How so?
They're all data driven.
Okay.
Right? And that's something that I learned from them. It's like, okay, well, why is this going wrong? Right? You can't just say, oh, this is going wrong, it doesn't work.
Next.
Yeah. You're like, okay, this broke. Why? Oh, this happened. Okay, then why did that happen? Oh, because this. Oh, but what made this happen? Why? And you could go down this rabbit hole until you find the actual why, right?
Yeah.
Normally 5 to 6 times, and then you find your actual answer. You'll find the actual problem. For me, and the real estate role, it's data and financial statement role was I need the hard data to understand why is it that I'm broke today.
Gotcha.
Right? So if you can draw it down, put it on paper, you understand why you're broke. And you got to have that mindset that it's okay that you're broke. It's okay that right now you're not where you want to be.
Yep.
And then the other question is, what you going to do about it, right? What actions are you going to take?
That's the question, right? What are you going to do about it? But then once you identify what you're going to do about it, you got to actually take action.
Yep. Yeah, and I know a lot of individuals that are way smarter than myself, but they haven't taken action.
And
Like, yeah.
I think the problem with that is it's analysis paralysis. They overthink it and they don't take action.
Those are the individuals that I pick their brains on, right? So if I got to do something that I never done before, but I know that they're knowledgeable on that, I'll ask them. And I ask them, take notes, and then I take the same information they gave me that they could have done themselves, and I take action.
Gotcha.
Right? And then it's also then for at least for that is that's my financial statement on why you got to have that data to do it.
Are you offering that financial statement to viewers? Like, is this something that you have for sale for somebody to actually be able to educate themselves and just track all of their numbers and just really become proficient with their finances?
Yeah. So what I ended up doing was I actually started to build community in school.
Okay.
And it's an app. So I've been going back and forth on do I offer it for free? Just build a community for free? And the answer is no, because if I want to give the education for free, I'll just go to YouTube, X, or whatever platform, and then just talk about it, right?
Gotcha.
But I want people that take action, so I'm building a community in school for $50 a month.
$50 a month. Okay.
$50 a month. So.
And what are you going to get with that?
So that right now it's still I'm structuring everything. So basically, you'll know the real estate 101s of today's market, right? So I get a lot of questions about as far as can I buy? Is it a good time to buy a house today?
Okay.
The answer depends, right? So it depends on your own financial goals. I can't say for everybody it is. You might want just a house today for the next 10 years. And if that's the case, then the answer is yeah. If you want to buy to invest, well, I got to know the data. Like, again, data driven, right? What are you buying for? What is the rent for? Do you have any cash flow or don't have any cash flow? Or are you remodeling the property or not? There's more information you need to get from that, right? So with this is answering the questions of whether it's a good time to buy or not a good time to buy, and having a community there and setting up calendars where, hey, I might not be able to do a one-on-one with you because that's going to cost way more than what you could afford. But what if we get a group together and then I have an actual Zoom meeting where anyone in that community could jump into the Zoom meeting and ask the questions.
So you're offering coaching too?
Yeah. So you'll have your financial statement in there, the how to apply the financial statement in there. Again, I'm barely doing it. This financial statement is uploaded in there already, but I still got to do it today.
Tell me the vision. Tell me the vision.
So the vision is that as the community grows, and then there's different key levels in there as well. So level 1 gives you access to this. The more you communicate, the more you're actively doing something in the community, you get more levels.
Okay.
So then let's say you're level 5. Level 5 gives you, we have an hour to go and do this, or I'll focus solely on your project. We'll work through this. We'll go through the data and see. And as you continue to level up, it's a game. So, which I think is pretty cool the way to design it. And just thinking at the end of the day, like the long-term vision is helping those that want to take action. And the reason I said $50, because $50 doesn't break your bank, but $50 gives you the commitment that, you know what, I'm actually going to do this.
Gotcha.
So many people just want the free data.
Yeah. Again,
just free data and not do anything.
Yep.
So why am I going to spend my time teaching you when you're not even going to take action?
You don't have any skin in the game.
Yeah, that's nothing. And $50 is nothing. You know, it might be something to those that are really struggling, but at the same time is why you need to ask that why. Why, again, accountability. Anything that you do, then you got to understand that you're accountable for it. There's actions to the consequences.
100%. So I can just attest to what Efrin's offering. I get to work with Efrin regularly, and he provides so much value, and he provides clarity on your finances. Because one of the biggest issues that I come across, working with clients, is that they have no idea what's going on with their finances. They don't know how to read a financial statement. And this is your ability to really just understand and have a clear picture of where you're at now, and then figure out the plan of where you want to go. And then he's the accountability partner where you move forward and actually take action and start, making those goals become reality. So I recommend you guys look into it. We'll have his information in the link below. So you got all these real estate assets and you've got all this passive income coming through, and they've basically replaced your monthly expenses. So tell me, how does it feel to be financially independent?
Well, yes and no right now. Like, it's not replacing my expenses because I'm not utilizing to pay for the expenses.
So what do you mean by that?
So by that is I get the income, but once I get the income, I reinvest it. I don't use it to pay off the car or pay off the house or pay off anything else. And so many individuals that first start, they use the cash flow to increase their lifestyle, which is a massive no-no. Because if you're using the cash flow to increase your lifestyle, how are you going to continue to grow?
Yeah.
Like, you're just using the cash flow. You're like, oh, you know what? I'm going to give me a badass car and pretend that I'm rich.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
no, to me, and I'll give you the scenario and I'll revert back to SpaceX where the last 2 years, last year and a half, I had bad leadership. Think about, like, I was there 8 years. Badass, right? Like, growing, learning, awesome. Can't say anything bad about that. But the last year and a half, I had a bad leader. And we always clashed. And it was just because the understanding of engineering world versus the production world, right? And there was no real instruction on how production actually worked on his part. And I also, for that point was, there was the consequences thing that I'm talking about is, the only way I knew I was going to get kicked out was if they said if I needed to be there at a certain time early morning. I wasn't able to do that. So they would give me tasks to fail, and I would just pass. Until the point where, like, hey, you got to be here early morning. So I talked to my wife, and I'm like, you know what? I don't want to be there early morning. I mean, I could if I really pushed myself to be there early morning, but there was no need. There was no need for me to be there early morning. And I could tell you for a fact, because once I was kicked out, it was
back to normal.
There was no one there in the morning that they really needed in leadership. So to me, I had the ability to say no. And if they really wanted to, like, why? And I gave them the thing that made me mad was the fact that I explained the reason why I couldn't get there in the morning. And they still said, oh, that doesn't matter. I'm like, at the end of the day, I needed to leave that department if I wanted to do something else. Which, again, they gave me a way out, right? And this is what I say, accountability matters, because I told my wife, if I don't do the mornings, I'll probably get fired. And she said, what are you going to do the mornings? I said, no. If they fire me because I'm not going there in the morning and they already know the reason why, I don't want to work for that company anymore. Yeah. I was able to say that because I wasn't utilizing the cash flow. If I was utilizing the cash flow to just pretend that I was
your
growing,
lifestyle,
I wouldn't have been able to say that. And that's the whole point of not utilizing your cash flow. You want to make sure that you continue to grow. So when you say you're financially free, I'm not, because I'm still reinvesting. Yeah.
Well, I say you're financially independent. Financial independence and financial freedom are two different things. Financial independence is your income, your passive income has replaced your expenses. Financial freedom, that's a mindset thing. Yep. That's something that you may never overcome.
Correct. Yeah, but I utilize just the cash flow to keep going. And to this day, when the kids make fun of me because they'll be, oh, can you buy me a bag of chips? I'm like, nah, man, I'm broke. And they're like, what? And they're like, how you broke when the other day you just bought this? But I like them challenging me. I like them questioning. And I want them to question. I want them to challenge people.
Yep.
Because if you're just someone that's shy or timid, you're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
So to me, it's just the way you treat your money, man.
But it's also sounds like you have more sense of freedom.
Yeah, you do.
You have more autonomy to do what you want.
Yep.
And I think that's very valuable for people that feel like they're stuck or enslaved to their job.
Yeah.
If that's not motivation to, build your passive income channels, I don't know what is.
Yeah. And I'll revert back to the being shy part. Right now, at the current company that I have, and I don't want to say too much because they haven't really said what their goals are, and I'd rather let them take care of it. It's just we're in stealth mode right now. But to me, we're hiring people, and a lot of these people are just coming in. They're the young generation. A lot of them are young generation and are just shy and quiet. right? And then if you're applying and you don't have skill sets, you got to be hyped. You know,
you got to bring something to the table.
Yeah, even if you could suck at everything and just say, you know what, I'm here, I'll do whatever it takes. I'm gonna jump it out. You ask me to paint, I'm gonna go paint. You ask me to change the drywall, I'm gonna go do it. Whatever it takes. Yeah. Someone came in with that energy, you'll be like, hired. Right. He might not know anything, but he has that energy, right? You want people that are alive. And some people just come in and you ask them a question.
Timid. Yeah.
And they're just like this. Or I could tell you this past Thursday, there was a lady like this. And when she left, I looked at my boss and I learned a lot from my boss, right? He's the VP right now for that company.
Okay.
And I'm looking at him, he even said, I feel bad. I'm like, I feel bad too, dude. But, there's not much even if we say you're hired.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be hard for that lady to break out of her shell to actually do something.
Perform. Yeah.
And then you're putting at risk your entire team.
Yep.
So
you don't want to add somebody toxic to the team or somebody that's going to drag the team down.
Yeah, and she wasn't toxic. It's just like she was going through some issues, and that's the whole emotional side of like we feel bad. She needs a job, like she needs a damn job, but at the end of the day, we're responsible for the company, right? So
100%, especially as a startup,
Yeah,
you gotta give it your all.
Yeah, if you have no skills, I mean, you gotta come in hyped. You have skills, you can be like laid back, but you're gonna answer the questions and you know what you're doing, right?
Yeah. So tell me, on a daily basis, what questions are you asked, like where to start with your finances?
Yeah, so I'm always asked on like, what can you do to get out of debt, right? So then when I hear that, I know that they're not educated in debt.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what do you mean? I got like several $1 million in debt. And they're like, what? And I'll show them my credit card max, all that stuff, right? And it says the debt. And they're like, I'm over here talking about $10,000 and you're over here like several millions. And then I was like, dude, it's because you're looking at that the wrong way. How do you get rid of your bad debt? Cool. Yeah, you don't get into that in the first place. Or if you're outspending your actual income, then you don't really deserve those items. And it's hard for people to just stop. Yeah, we're in a society of consumption, right? So everyone's a consumer.
100%.
And if you're a consumer, you're constantly just buying just because. And honestly, think that a lot of people don't even use the stuff they buy. Maybe once.
Or they're trying to prove something to somebody else that they don't even know.
Yeah, and I see a lot of that too. So my question is like, how do I get rid of that? That's something that I always been asked is, how do I start in real estate? They don't even know the process of how to buy a property.
Oh.
And how can you start in the stock market too? And I explained to him the process, right? But it's, again, if you don't have any skin in the game, you're just taking that information.
And it's not getting anywhere.
It's not going anywhere. Yeah. I mean, I've seen some people where it works and they do change. And they're like, yo, look, man, I just did this. I did the snowball effect, right? Or when they come over and they send me, I listen to Dave Ramsey. I'm like, no. I'm like, I understand why you're listening to him. And honestly, 99% of the fucking population needs it.
Yeah, for sure.
But when you hear videos, like one of the videos I heard is they offered me, I don't know if it was $1 million or $2 million with zero interest. Yeah. He wouldn't take it.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Zero interest.
Free money.
That $2 billion, give me that today. I'm going to go and put it in the treasury and get 5%. And I'm getting, 5% of 2 million, I don't know, somewhere around 50 or 500 million,
free
whatever
money.
It is. That,
free money right there.
Yeah, that you're gaining and you're just paying your 0% loan off.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm like, yeah, you listen to them on how to pay off your debt. After that, just don't listen to them. But yeah.
So what do you think is the best way to approaching getting a job? I know you touched on it a little bit, but like, what are those actionable steps? Or like when you're approaching a job, how do you go about that, like mentally?
Gotcha. So I'll talk about when I got let go from SpaceX, right? So I had options. Go back into the welding industry and fabrication industry. It would have been the safe route. Or go to Texas and just call it a quits and just live life, right? So to me, I was really thinking about, we were definitely adamant about going to Texas, but not so we could just quit and just chill. It was to go and build other stuff, right?
Yeah.
Continue on our financial journey. And I didn't want to go back to welding and fabricating because there's no, what else can I learn? Like, I'm already,
you already hit the pinnacle.
Yeah, I'm already at the top. Like, am I going to learn anything new? No.
Are you going to make any more money? No.
I'll make, the money's there, right? Like, if I really wanted to make money, I'll go work. And welders and fabricators, like, are going to get paid a lot of money. Yeah. And to me I started to apply to jobs, and I only applied to jobs that I was going to gain value from. So whenever you go to a job, don't chase that money like we talked about earlier. Just see what you could gain. What knowledge can you gain from that company? You want to go into leadership, go into a job, and then that you're going to be able to grow. If you go into a small mom and pop job, it's going to be hard for you to grow there. Even though they're the best at treating their employees, it's going to be hard for you to grow XYZ's that, right?
Yeah.
But if you want to grow into leadership, you got to go to a bigger company and then go that route. If you want the engineering route, go and join a company that offers you working on the floor with engineers. And if you get good at a certain skill, you could actually go and work with engineering team versus production team. And that's not your path of grabbing the knowledge. So what I ended up doing is I was applying for roles that had something to offer as far as value.
Gotcha.
So then my boss that I was telling you about, actually in LinkedIn, wrote an ad about hiring for a position. So I was like, you know what? Like they're real estate. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm in real estate. I'm doing what I'm doing, right? Gotta take that further. I want to learn all aspects, not just the over big picture view. So I went to that company to learn. So that's where I am today. And the money it's good, but it doesn't matter to me. It's more of like, what knowledge am I going to gain?
Gotcha.
It's all about the knowledge, man.
That's huge. I mean, so many of us are chasing that paycheck, but really it's the knowledge that's going to take you to the next level. It's investing in your knowledge and your ability to create that's really going to just, amplify your hourly income and how much you're worth.
Yeah.
And so it's going to make you irreplaceable in the marketplace. If you want to do entrepreneurial things in the future, you're going to have that foundation where it's going to be easier. And you basically eliminated a lot of the risk because you already learned the fundamentals on somebody else's dime, somebody else's risk. And now you can just go out, take all those skills and build an empire, from developing those. You were getting paid to learn, which is huge.
Yeah.
So everybody, Efrin's on his way. I mean, you haven't seen anything yet. He's just from where I met the guy over 12 years ago to where he is now. He's just such an inspiration. Keep an eye out for him. But where can we find more information? How do we connect with you to just see where you're going?
So you could follow me on social media, and you could drop that link there. It'll be Instagram, Facebook. And if you really want to, and you're serious about changing your life where you're at today, then I would say join the school program.
Until next time.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
See you guys.